What is up, Glory Gang?
Yo, yo.
Welcome back to another episode of the Glory Boys podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Austin.
And I am Darren.
And in today's episode, we have a special treat for you.
Yep.
Our guest today is Dr. Jacey Folkers.
Doctor,
that's right. And he's my father-in-law.
Oh, double whammy.
Awesome. Jacey is a brilliant guy with the health of the body. And today he's going to talk to us about how to maintain and maximize our creative flow and how to take care of our bodies as a creative.
Yeah, he's actually helped Austin and I in a lot of ways with, chiropractic. And Austin had a broken back at age 25 and 27. How old are you? 27. And he's helped me and he's adjusted me, and he has so many amazing practical, simple ways to how to stay in a creative flow, how to be healthy, how to maintain health. And it's not overwhelming. You don't have to be a bodybuilder. You don't have to be some crazy health nut, but really just doing some simple, practical things. So I'm really excited, if you can't tell, about this episode. So let's get into it.
All right, here in the studio with Dr. Jacey. Jacey, thanks for taking time out of your day to be with us. It's an honor to have you on the show.
Yeah, it is.
Super sick. I'm super excited.
Yeah, we are too. Just to give you guys a little bit of backstory, Jacey is my father-in-law.
Yeah.
So he's my wife's dad, obviously, as you can tell, because that's what a father-in-law is.
That's true.
And yeah, we're excited to have him on the show, really switching things up a little bit today. A lot of as you know, a lot of our content's based on filmmaking and content creation, or working in the church world. And we felt that we really want to bring you guys value in all areas, and provide as much value to as many people as possible. So we really wanted to branch out with some of these guest episodes, do something a little bit different. So Dr. Jacey is, as you would tell by the name, a doctor. Functional medicine. I don't know. I'm gonna not butcher it. I'm gonna let you tell us what you do and what you're up to.
Yeah. So thank you. First, thank you for you guys for having me. I'm super stoked, honored, privileged, and humbled to be on your podcast. I'm a huge fan of you guys. Obviously, I have a soft spot for Awesome. I love both you guys. I'm a huge fan of what you guys do. You guys are legends, if you don't realize it, in your space. So,
Let's go.
I'm just super pumped to be here. But what I do is, I guess if you start from the beginning, my doctorate is in chiropractic. My postgraduate training is functional medicine. So I'm really passionate about learning ways of what are the root causes of potential health problems, ways to naturally address those things, but also to help a person just live more optimally, be able to function at their highest level and live their best life. I mean, that's my passion. I don't really practice chiropractic so much as I really help guide and educate patients as much as I can to live their best life. And I always tell patients the word doctor in Latin actually means to teach. So I've really taken that to heart and feel like it's my responsibility to educate, to lead by example, and to just share as much as what I know and how I live with the world. So that's kind of what I do in a nutshell.
Yeah, and you can fix our back still when we, throw them out, picking up my daughter. Or
I shouldn't say I don't practice chiropractic. I still obviously adjust. I don't market myself as a chiropractor and practice traditional, just adjust me. I really feel like it encompasses everything, wellness and health. You got to kind of look at the nutrition, the lifestyle. As well as the health of the spine, which is an important piece as well. So
yeah, I mean, you were the hero that saved Austin's back. He was like a old man just a few months ago, and he's brand new. Look at him. Look at that back.
Yeah, he got me a few years ago too, when I did the same exact thing. So
yeah, you were walking around just super weird, and I was like, bro, what did you do? You're 26,
And talk about that a little bit. So because the type of work you guys do, it is more physically challenging in kind of awkward positions. Is that kind of what kind of led to your...
Yeah, I think it was a mixture of things. I had back problems from when I was in high school, but doing what we do definitely didn't help. Sitting for long hours of time. It's really hard to hold a camera with good posture, I've found, because I'm not shooting from eye level, so I'm looking down and I'm hunched over almost 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And so, I would imagine it's terrible on your body. And so what would you say, what would be some tips that you would have to help prevent that, practically speaking, for people who are in a creative business and sit in front of a computer for long hours and do all this stuff, lug around heavy gear? You know how our business works. So what would you do if you were in our shoes?
Yeah, and with your business, obviously you guys are in a creative space, so a lot of the work is at a computer, right? Sitting for long periods of time, which I shared with both of you guys, which is I'm glad to see you guys have standing stations. So standing,
love those.
Sitting, some people refer to it as it's like today's smoking. It's like so bad for your health. Sitting, it's not good for your spine. As you know, the health of your spine really defines a lot of it's a foundational thing you have to take care of. But strengthening your those muscles, getting adjusted, practicing good posture. So it's just doing all those things, and just being aware of what you're doing. But yeah, sitting for a long period of time is not an ideal thing. So even if you are in a job or profession that requires you to sit for a long period of time, take frequent breaks. And if you can, get up, walk, go outside, do kind of refresh, and then definitely add in some type of activity with strengthening, as well as staying hydrated is another important thing. A lot of times people they're sitting, they're eating, they're dehydrated, and all those things will start to take a toll.
Yeah.
But and to touch on that more, is oftentimes people don't really even address these things or think they're an issue until they have symptoms.
Right. Yeah.
So part of the educational thing is I really want people to start to be proactive, take responsibility for these things now before they become a problem, which I think is a problem in and of itself, because most of Americans just don't do anything with their health until it's like symptoms start stacking up. You know what I mean? And so that's that's the world we live in. Our model is such that it's treat the symptom. There's a pill for every ill. But let's start to, get ahead of it before it happens, right?
Yeah, that's really good.
That is good. Yeah, and our sit stand-ups have been a game changer.
Hey, we're actually standing right now doing this podcast. That's kind of nice.
Look at us go.
Look at us. We definitely are getting better.
You were sitting before, right? Like
every day, all the time. And standing, honestly, since we moved into this space, we've only been here for a couple months, and we love I just stand at my desk for the whole 8 hours, whole 10 hours sometimes. And there's a rare occasion where I'll push the button, sit down. And I do that for a little bit and almost get kind of antsy, and I want to stand up again. I just kind of feel like there's more room, and I don't know, it's just more comfortable. You almost forget, it's the opposite of where it used to be, where I'd stand, 10% of the day. Well, now I'm standing 90% of the day, sitting 10% of the day. And I can definitely tell a difference for sure.
And even the way we sit as Americans, most of our chairs are just not ergonomically correct.
You mean like our IKEA chair is not?
Well, even not to get gross, but even the toilets that in our country, it's so many people have constipation, have problems with that, and so it's squatting, if you're gonna sit really, really low.
Squatted potties.
There's real truth to that.
I have one.
That's
I have one.
I have makeshift ones. I'll use my daughter's stool. And I was it's like, wow, that came out real smooth.
It's pretty insane, but there is a ton of truth to all of that. It's just poop.
Yep, poop. It's important to poop, but poop right.
Yeah. Right.
If you're
there it is.
If you're and veins are popping, and
that's not good.
That's not good, man.
That's not good.
All right. So if you learn nothing else from this podcast episode, poop right. There you go.
Let's figure out how to. Honey, did you poop right just now? I heard you flushed a few times. What's going on in there? No, I'm awesome. Jealous of my 6-year-old. She goes in the bathroom, and then you're done. It's 30 seconds.
Wow.
I'm like, man,
that's healthy right there.
Oh, it's just like butter. Done.
And today's episode is about poop.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we were talking a little bit before this about, and it's kind of along the same lines of what you can do from a physical standpoint, keeping your body healthy, but also relating that to how does that affect your creativity? What can a lot of the people listening to this are creative. And so what can we be doing from a practical physical standpoint to maximize our creative flow and all of that?
Yeah. So let's go back to some foundational things here. And there's a term that myself and one of my colleagues kind of coined a little bit. It's called autonomic pairing. So which has to do with your nervous system. So your nervous system is literally to simplify, it's broken down into two different systems: sympathetic and parasympathetic. And your sympathetic nervous system is when it's important for us because it's like the fight, flight, or free, or freeze. Because some people just, when they're freaked out, they're just like, it's freeze, right? But it's for survival. So if we're sitting here right now having a good time chatting, and if a lion comes in the room, we're gonna be pretty freaked out, right?
Yeah.
Unless Darren's a lion tamer, he'll just be like, stand back, guys. Right? But if we're just gonna we're gonna fight the lion, which that we're stupid if we try that because we're just gonna get eaten, or we're gonna run out of here. So we're gonna do some things to activate that survival mode. So, but here's the thing: most of us, because of our stressful, demanding lives, are in that state all the time.
Wow.
In order to be creative, you want to be more in what's called a parasympathetic state. And there are ways to do that. So obviously, if you're in pain and you're dealing with back problems and you're dealing with chronically, your body's in a sympathetic state, releasing cortisol, trying to deal with the inflammation. That can hinder and take away from your ability to be creative in any capacity, And so there are ways to get into more of a parasympathetic state. And so things you can do, believe it or not, breathing techniques are huge to get you in a parasympathetic state. There's ways to breathe that will actually activate and switch you from sympathetic to parasympathetic. And one way to kind of describe that is most of us are, well, not most, but I say 25 to 50% of us are mouth breathers, which is not good. When you're in a stress state, you tend to breathe through your mouth. Like if you go run around the block, you're, what I mean? And so,
sure.
But breathing through the nose, you can just tell you get deeper, you get more oxygen, right? Yeah, it feels good.
It feels good, yeah.
Yeah, and so they've studied, they've kind of determined the ideal way to breathe is 5.5 seconds in, breathe slower, and exhale 5.5 seconds out. You can do that 3 times, and you will shift your body almost immediately into a parasympathetic, more creative state.
Wow.
Just that's one little biohack you can do to shift your state into more of a rest and digest or relax state.
Wow, I feel so relaxed.
Yeah, and then you're like,
right now.
You're like, well, man, I can just create, right? you just so it does it. So that's our nervous system. That's how amazing it is. So we have it, and this has been for thousands of years for survival to get us ready. When you're in that survival state, there's things that happen. Digestion slows down, so you're not worried about eating. Your reproductive system slows down. You're not thinking about that when you're trying to survive.
Wow.
Blood will flow to your extremities to fight, to flee, to what you have to do. These are things that are innately not setting us up for to be creative and I need to build this house the way, or I want to take this shot in this video. You know what I mean? So So back to what your question is, if you're dealing with chronic health issues, pain, some type of ailment, your body's typically kind of in that sympathetic state. You want to kind of get out of that. Breathing's a great way. Proper rest, recovery, just being in the moment and focusing on your state. There's a lot of things we can go deeper with the mental side of it. All will help kind of facilitate more of a state of creativity. And it's nice to just kind of, if you feel that you're just not in that creative state, what you can do is go outside and be in nature. That is one of the most powerful things you can do to get you in a state of creativity.
Wow.
Because God has the sun, you have all the trees, and when you're in nature, you just automatically it shifts you out of that stress state almost within minutes into a sympathetic, creative type of state.
Wow.
So combine that with breathing, being in the moment, and then going back and you're like, wow, now I'm ready to do this thing.
Yeah, there's something to be said about that. And I would say even without knowing that, there's been times where at our old office, I'd be sitting in the office and just staring at my screen and not knowing what to do or where to go. And it'd be a beautiful sunny day outside. And I would just literally walk outside and sit in the sun or lay on the ground in the grass, and I would just lay there for 10 minutes, maybe kind of doze off for a sec, and just wake up or just come from this like state of like almost feeling like you're just about to get some sunburn or just get that warmth from the sun. And then I get up and I'm like, I'm ready to freaking go. Like,
dude,
it almost,
you're in it, man.
it just changes everything, like being in nature and feeling the outside and shutting down like the electronics around you and the busyness around you. But like, yeah, just there's something about it. So
you have to make that a priority. I mean, you could do that for 5 minutes. You can do that for 7 minutes, whatever, a few times a day. I teach people the best way to start your day, and you just mentioned the sun, is to get up, get natural light in your eyes. And because the reason is the sun, not only does it, help kind of set your circadian rhythm, but it will actually, the light in the sun actually will activate certain cells in your brain that there's an area of your brain called the amygdala, and it happens to be the center that controls anxiety and fear and that kind of stuff. So the sun getting into your brain, and also moving is another. It's called optic flow. So object moving by you while you're walking will quiet the amygdala.
Wow.
So once again, you're putting yourself in a state with exposure to sun, walking, being outside.
Yeah.
That's more for creativity. That's quieting the stress and anxiety that when maybe there's things in your mind you're worried about the day. Just be in the moment. Do that, and it just right away just kind of like getting stuff done, and then you're more productive throughout the day.
Wow, that's
awesome.
so good. So the next time that you're working on a wedding film or you're doing a commercial project and you're just like beating your head up against this thing, just go outside.
Seriously.
Get the heck outside.
Go for a walk, go outside.
Yeah, breathe.
And some people maybe, they'll, if they're in a building, they'll go to like a atrium where there's windows.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's okay, but it's just that glass.
It's the confined space still.
Opening the windows, you want to get the sun, like the real sun through.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No windows. It's the best way to do it. Just be outside for real.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
Not for fake.
Yeah, not for fake.
Love that. Super practical.
Yeah.
And I know I'm definitely going to implement some of that to help me be more creative.
Yeah. In addition to that, like I tell, because people like yourselves, I'm sure if you've worked late at night, you've worked on projects late at night. Sleep is another thing, because if you start to lack sleep, that can impede focus, creativity, and things like that. I actually tell people, believe it or not, a good night's sleep starts with that morning routine, be it only like 5 minutes. So you get up in the morning, get the sunlight, get outside, even when it's cold, even if it's like a few minutes, that actually will start that circadian rhythm, that starts that clock. So as you are outside and taking in nature, go throughout your day, your body, you set that clock, your body clock. So at night, you fall asleep, melatonin will start to rise, you get a good night's sleep, and you just start that process over again. So that's how powerful that is.
So once you start that kind of rhythm, and it's just a few minutes a day, right?
Yep.
The breathing, the stepping outside, does your body kind of get used to this, and then your body? So I'm not a morning person, but I want to become one. Do you think that kind of implements into your body this rhythm, this natural rhythm of like, hey, it's time to get up, it's time to do this again? Is that something? Or
yes, you can kind of, and I hear that all the time. I'm not a morning person.
Yeah.
It's kind of do you feel like you're more a little bit more like alert at night? More
for instance, Austin and I were editing last night, and we crushed out 2 projects in 4 hours and just like slammed it. But then went home and got to bed at midnight, and it gets to be late, and so the morning comes, and you're like, man, I'm not a morning person.
that could play into why you feel like a morning person. You're just habitually kind of doing things more at night, being more productive at night. But I'm a research guy, so a lot of the research shows that like if you figure out, and not to get too deep, but when we sleep, literally 2 hours before we wake up, our body goes through like stages of sleep. But about 2 hours before we wake up, your body temperature, believe it or not, gets at its absolute lowest about 2 hours before. And then when it hits that low point, and then it starts to go up. And after about 2 hours, you wake up. It's called the circadian rhythm. For some people, it could be 6 a.m. For some people, it could be 7 a.m. or whatever.
Sure.
Approximately 90 minutes after that is when your state of productivity, creativity is almost at its max.
Yeah.
And you have about a 90-minute window of just like crushing through anything. And it just kind of like, I would try to set your schedule accordingly. But if you're habitually trying to do things more late at night, then you're kind of like off. You're kind of changing your body's
you're like perpetuating the lateness of your cycle.
You are. So then you're like, man, then you need sleep. Sleep's important, but it's ideal to go off of the sunlight when the sun goes down. And I tell people, like, try as much as possible not to have overhead light when the sun's down. Use lamps or fireplaces or candles or something, because lamps are kind of like mimic like a fireplace. It doesn't create this like artificial sun over your head. But what you're doing, working late at night, you're staring at a screen, blue light, which is going to kind of like tell your physiology like, oh, it's daytime still.
Right.
So then you're going to bed at a later time. The sun's already up. You're still like, oh man, I got to get up again. So you can reprogram that 100%. Not to answer your question in a way too long of a way, but
no, it's awesome. No, it was super helpful. I love that.
So to pivot in a little bit of a different direction, I think all of that's super great. I love that's really what I wanted was practical tips for creatives that can help them be better in life. And no one knows more about the human body than you that I've met. And you're super nerdy about it, and I love it. Like, all of the different, and you research all the time, and you read tons of books on stuff. And so when we were thinking of this, like, who better than Dr. Jacey to bring on and teach people about how to keep healthy in this type of business. But I want to talk a little bit about what you're doing now, and really what I've seen you go through over the last 5 years. I've known you for a little longer than that, but Callie and I have been married for 5 years, so we'll just say 5 years. But I've seen you go through multiple different business opportunities that each one of them, like, you put everything into, and they just never really seem to work out. And I remember I've talked to Callie about this before. I was always like, why does this never work out? Like, you're such a smart dude. You have so much value to bring. Like, you should be famous, like, doing what you're doing, talking about health. Like,
you are famous to me,
and you will be, like, and you already are in your own right. But what kept you going through all of that? Obviously now, and we'll touch on Blokes, and would love to have you share with the listeners what Blokes is and what you do now. But how did you get through that 5 year really season of things not necessarily panning out consistently multiple times, and you could have very, very easily given up, mailed it in, became a chiropractor, ran a successful chiropractic clinic, just adjusting people, but you didn't do that. You kept focused on your ultimate dreams and goals. And so, tell us a little bit about that.
Wow. So that's a great question. It's definitely not one I've prepared for, but I'll try my best to articulate kind of like the journey. And I would say, to summarize it in a couple ways. Number one is, a lot of times when I was sitting in my clinic, doing the things that I didn't feel 100% was like what I was, I guess, meant for ultimately. I guess the way I would describe it is, like, at times I was mourning my potential. Like, I wasn't living up to what it is that I'm totally designed for. Most people define success as like, you're making money, you're busy and all that kind of stuff. I look at life as like, success is learning from this situation and then being willing to step away, because I had a practice that was doing very, very well, but I learned, like, this isn't where I see myself 10 years from now. So I started kind of like backing out of it to kind of create a new opportunity in letting that happen. And so one mistake I did make was I felt that I didn't have a good team around me. It's my own weakness. I did everything. I wore all the hats. So I did all of those things, and I didn't delegate responsibilities appropriately. You guys obviously have done it the right way. So you found a good partner. You guys have synergy, and you've slowly built teams, and things that, like, you did, that you're good at, you handled, and the things that Austin was strong at, he handled. I was like doing things that I don't even enjoy doing. All the time. And like, I'm not a marketer, but I was doing all my own marketing, and that was probably like 80% of my. And just like, I remember one night I was just up and I was like holding my daughter that was at the time probably 2, and I'm like, this sucks. I'm like working on Facebook ads, and it's just like, I don't think I want to do this that much longer, unless, and I would try marketing agencies, and I did learn that with marketing, no one's going to market your business as well and as passionately as you do.
Yeah.
Or you will. And then there's some other weird things that happen, but I just kind of like felt like, you know what, I'm just going to pray about this. And I feel like I need to find a team that I can do something that I believe in. And every time I kind of would, lean on God and an opportunity would pop up. So I just was patient.
Yeah.
So I kind of like I was able, and I felt like I was strong enough to just walk away from a business that was growing, but it was growing in a way that I didn't feel was congruent with my long-term vision.
Yeah.
So to fast forward now where I'm at is I was able to find a partner that is able to allow me to do what I'm good at, and he does what he's good at, and we're building a team. And I'm not having to. I mean, I have to kind of stop myself, like stop, Jacey, of doing things that like because I do all the time that I probably let other people. Even though I feel in some regard I can do certain things better, I need to still let someone else like let them screw up a few times, 100 times, whatever, and just kind of like coach them along. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because you ultimately don't want to get into a spot where you did in the past where you had done it all yourself. Obviously, I could do it all myself, but I think there's something really important about building people up, building teams, letting people fail forward so that you can see them grow and you pull the potential out of them is a huge part of growing your business, growing your teams. You want to be surrounded by people that are like you. Well, how do you replicate yourself? You let them do it. So you do it with them. Then you let them do it, and then you coach them through it until they get there, and they will. That's how we hired Bray. Bray is literally a mixture of us two into a person, and she crushes. And like, if we didn't hire her, we wouldn't be able to expand. And we want to hopefully do that with the next person. And so, I think that's super important, and that's awesome that you're letting people do that, delegating. You're setting pride aside. Hey, I can do that better, but I'm gonna give you a shot and let you rise to the occasion.
Yeah, and I wasn't alone in this because I have to give a lot of credit to my wife because we had a conversation because I just like I don't feel what I'm doing right now is really what I can see myself doing for a long period of time. And I was doing functional medicine, but I started kind of like I joined some consultant companies that kind of like, hey, do this, Jacey. Hey, bring this to your office. So I kind of got in over my head on some things, and I was managing a lot of different moving parts, and then it just got overwhelming. And then I was fortunate. My wife was, I said, I don't know if I'm going to keep doing this, and when my lease is up, I might just kind of back out and look for another opportunity. Are you cool with that? And she's like, I'll get a job. I'll do whatever it takes.
Wow.
And I'm like, you sure? She hadn't worked for 7 years.
Wow.
Because since our daughter, who's 9 now, she just hadn't worked, and she's like, well, I'll get licensed. She got licensed as a nurse in Nebraska, and then got a job, and then meanwhile, just like I said, I just leaned on God and said, I know you're going to create a new opportunity for me. Then next thing I knew, and I was actually in the process of potentially opening a new clinic to do stem cell therapy, regenerative medicine. And when I did that, I researched and I found another company that was opening in Omaha, and I just reached out to the owner, just like, hey, what do where are you guys opening up? What are you going to do? And I actually spoke to the owner, and he's like, yeah, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to market. And I just was like, well, I can't compete with you guys, because he was like going to drop like 6 figures a month on marketing, just like, no problem. I'm just like, okay, well,
that's easy money.
So right,
it's a marketing.
Yeah, so I said, well, are you guys looking for someone to like manage? He's like, actually, we're looking for a medical director for one of our clinics, and so well, I'd be open for that. And so next thing I know, had some interviews, got hired, and just basically ran that office, and then also ended up kind of helping manage 2 other clinics around the country, and then COVID happened and other things happened, and we closed down that office. But that ultimately led to that same owner is now my partner with our current venture. So that's where we're at now. So it's awesome. Been exciting, yeah. So you just never know, like where these things come when you like just have faith and
obedience and faithfulness and staying the course and
and like you said, Darren, like just set pride aside. Really, is what it was.
That's good.
For sure. So I remember when I first saw you walk up to me in a bloke's polo, and honestly, my first thought was like, yo, that logo is pretty sweet.
Yeah, filthy bloke.
And I know you said you did everything, and like I wish we could actually paint that picture for you. I don't feel like anyone listening actually really understands, because I remember you hitting me up like, yo, do you know how to build WordPress sites? And you're like learning WordPress, like learning how to do all of these things. And like, and I'm so glad that now you're in a space where you can do what you're best at.
Yeah.
Because you can do things that you're good at, but if they're not what you're best at, and if somebody else can do them just as well, like back to delegation, it just makes total sense. But anyways, tell us a little bit about Blokes. Love the company, the branding, the kind of cheeky nature of it.
It's great.
So what is that, and how can we benefit from it?
Yeah, Blokes is exciting. So we created this company out of kind of, seeing that there are many things in healthcare that can be improved. Okay, so first of all, the pandemic happened, COVID, and that kind of opened the door for virtual telehealth, that kind of a thing. People weren't going to the doctor, and plus, now that people are going back to doctor's offices, you're sitting in the waiting room. It takes time to get your appointment. And then it just is oftentimes just not efficient. It's not personable. So we decided to create this company to just improve all those things and just make it like fun and awesome and convenient. So what Blokes is, it's the Bloke side of it is men's health, and we're able to address all things men's health, from testing your hormones, your blood, and just seeing like what markers are there that need improvement. We can then easily schedule you a consultation with your smartphone, with your computer. You could literally be, Austin could have an appointment in 10 minutes and go jump on his phone and meet with one of our medical providers. She can go over your labs and say, hey, you know what, based on this, this is what we recommend. And everything's, 100% legit, FDA approved, HIPAA compliant. And then we discreetly can have your medications or your supplements or your peptides or whatever she recommends shipped to your house, and then everything's included, follow-ups, labs. So it's a way to for you to take responsibility in your health. And I mean, we're, like I said before, we're not in it to just treat symptoms. Yeah. We're looking under the hood, trying to find those blind spots, trying to, really determining like what is it that's maybe missing, to optimize health, optimize creativity, optimize, just help you be the best version of you, for as long as you want. And we've made it very affordable. So this is something that we prided ourselves by really competitively looking at other like clinics that are like ours, and just made everything people are just like, wow, this is like awesome. Yeah. As far as like, it doesn't crush their pocketbook, but just going above and beyond. So I'm the chief patient educator. So I will sit on the call with a lot of our new patients, educate them on what the provider recommended, and just kind of get an idea of like what their goals are. And then I can help recommend whether it be a peptide, whether it be, a hormone, or, something that can help address whatever it is their goals are.
Yeah. Some of this might be like, going over, some of it goes over my head. I've talked to you about it, but what kind of like patient are you guys serving? Like, is it, I have to be really sick to hit you up? Or,
no, not at all.
What type? I just want people to kind of be able to relate to this.
Honestly, like most of our patients are guys that just want to crush life. You know, executives, business owners, that's what we're going after. And you would think, we even thought like before we kind of embarked on this, like a lot of our patients are going to be older, 50s and 60s and whatever. Sure. Most of our patients are, we have, late 20s, early 30s, most are like our age. Not that I'm your age, but,
our range of ages.
Can I be in this age group?
I'm excluded from that age group. It's your age range of ages.
Yeah, me and you. Me and you, buddy.
But we still have, he's not even 30 yet. So we still have guys that are in their late 20s, like that are after what we offer. Yep. But and like you said, it's not guys that are like feeling sick or having major symptoms. Of course, those are things that we cater to. Is like guys come in, they have things aren't what they were in the bedroom, and their focus isn't there, their motivation isn't there. When you get up in the morning, they feel like, gosh, I don't have that drive, that zest that I used to have when I was younger. Yeah. Because believe it or not, these things do decline, and they seem to happen earlier and earlier in our life with guys. And it can be a lot of environmental things. It can be just stress, like we talked about. But we do help address all those things. That's why we do testing. That's why we have you fill out a form that says, this is kind of what I'm, interested in. So it's just really to help you optimize and just stay in the zone, and just, like I said, crush life and just be the best version of Darren, be the best version of Austin that you can be for as long as you want to be.
Yeah.
So,
and you guys specialize in peptides, is that correct?
So
or
is
that just a part of
I'm the most, peptides are the thing I'm the most excited
Same.
about.
Yeah.
I'm the most, to touch on that real quick, I mean, not a lot of people know
what's
what
a peptide?
peptides are. Great question. So peptides, essentially, you've heard of a protein, right? So proteins are like a chain of a bunch of amino acids. A peptide is like a little shorter chain of amino acids. And so we have hundreds and thousands of peptides in our body right now. As we age, certain peptides just start to diminish in their number, in their function. For example, growth hormone is a hormone that you may have heard of. That declines pretty significantly, especially once you hit 30. And every decade it drops about 15% on average. Wow. Every decade. So that's why when you see older individuals, they seem to age faster and faster the older they get. So there's a peptide that can actually help your body release and stimulate production of more growth hormones. So it's going to help with anti-aging, better sleep, better mental clarity, better just recovery, all those things. So growth hormone is kind of like that fountain of youth hormones. So that's why when your kids are young, like yours is really young, and she falls and bumps her head, because I saw a bruise on her head last time. It like heals like in a few minutes, right? Like a few days. And like if we fall and bump our, our knee or elbow, it's like, man, it just hurts for like forever. So it just, our healing capabilities just decline mainly because of those kinds of hormones and peptides in our body. So that's one example. Another example is peptides, or why they're near and dear to me, is one of the first peptides ever made is insulin. Insulin, it happens to be a peptide. It was discovered in 1923. And it was available in the United States since 1923. And so I have my stepdaughter happens to be a type 1 diabetic. So without that peptide, I mean, she essentially wouldn't be alive. Yeah. So in just that's why they're amazing. So there's a peptide that you can use and administer for any specific kind of thing that you want it to do. So there's peptides that help with cognition. There's peptides that help with the brain if someone has like head trauma. There are peptides that help with healing. So if you have an injury to your knee, to your back, to your shoulder, to wherever, there's a peptide for that. It's a peptide that helps with digestion, to improve digestion. So people that have like acid reflux, leaky gut, I mean, there are peptides that can go in really for weight loss, for example. There are peptides that you can administer for any specific goal you have. So they're more specific based on like your goal. And so that's why I'll sit on the phone with them, determine what they're after, what they want to really achieve with us, and recommend what peptide for what goal they have. So it's really fun.
Wow. It's awesome. Yeah, that was the part that got me the most excited too, when you kind of explained it to me. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so. You sent us a menu and we were like, oh, the branding's cool, it looks cool. And then we're looking down and we're like, we want all of them. Yeah. We want to eat all of those things.
Put them in me.
Just give them to me. But yeah, I think it's really important. I mean, we want to live long, healthy lives. Yep. You have a goal to live until when? Did you set
150?
150.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty sick. And you follow guys and told me about guys that they want to live forever, and forever I say like over 100 and healthy, like being ripped and cut at like 90 years old. Like that can be a thing, and you really can if you take care of yourself. You get good sleep, you get in the sun, you're active. You don't have to be a bodybuilder. You don't have to do all these crazy things, but it's just these like little things. Take care of yourself. Actually get out in the sun, sleep well, hang out with people, be around things like outside, and just some of those things. But I love it. Where could people, I guess, find you, find Blokes, find out more information? Yeah.
So Blokes, our website is blokes.co. Pretty easy. I would like to mention we're in the process of launching the women's platform, which is Joy, Joi. We don't have a website up for that, but the crazy thing is like about 40% of our patients are women.
Wow.
On the bloke side. So we're like, wow, we need to create like a woman's arm for this.
Yeah.
Women love the anti-aging benefits of the peptides, the growth hormone peptides, because in addition to what we talked about, like guys are always like, well, I want to look like ripped and jacked and, have muscles and abs, you know. But the women are like, my skin feels nicer, their hair is thicker. Maybe guys like that too, but we don't talk about it.
Right.
Hey,
at least not in public.
Right? My skin's so supple. Check it out, right?
That's so great.
But the anti-aging stuff is real. It's no joke. So like these women are like, oh my, I need to get more of this because their husband's looking and feeling better. Like, hey man, what are you holding out, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
But these peptides are great because for hair restoration, for all these things. So we're creating a woman's side to cater to that, more of the anti-aging, weight loss, and the stuff that they're really after. So we can really, just I don't want to like exclude the gals, but like a lot of the women are jumping on it. So, but right now, blokes.co, you can basically address all those things. We have a Instagram account which is Get Blokes, and we're just starting to really kind of ramp that up.
Sick.
Love it. Do you have a personal Instagram?
My Dr. Jacey.
Okay.
Yep. Jaceyy.
Awesome.
Simple.
Yep.
Well, Jacey, it's been awesome having you on the show.
Yeah.
Thanks again for your time. Is there anything else you'd like to leave our listeners with? Any words of encouragement, pro tips, anything else?
Should we end in jokes? Bad jokes? I don't know.
Whatever.
I don't even
whatever.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm a fan of you guys. I'm just happy to be here. So who has a joke they want to share? I don't even have jokes.
I'm not even a dad yet, so I can't even have dad jokes yet.
You can't?
I don't.
Oh man.
I
Somebody told me one the other day.
You should have listeners just like
submit,
tell a joke.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
For sure.
That's a good idea.
I mean, let me think of this one that I just heard recently. So, what happens when you combine a insomniac, a dyslexic, and a agnostic?
I don't know.
Yeah. So someone that sits, that lays at night wondering if there is a dog.
Nice.
Okay, what was this?
Dyslexic. Okay.
So-
Oh yes, there we
Right,
go.
right?
Yep. All right.
They can't sleep.
Yes.
They're dyslexic, right? Let me think of another one.
Oh, that was a good one.
I heard it. I totally thought I was gonna mess it up. What happens if when a pepper gets mad? He gets jalapeno face. Get it?
Jalapeno face.
Jalapeno face.
Nice.
Jalapeno face.
All right.
That's amazing.
I don't know. I don't have any profound
that's-
to end with.
no,
I
I
just
love
wanted
it.
to kind of like,
Yeah,
that's great.
I'm just
Hey, laughter is also great for you.
laughter, community, all the stuff you said.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I guess if anyone ever has questions, feel free to message me on social media. I'm here for people. I don't want people to feel like they got to pay for my time. I want to help anyone. Even if it's something they feel uncomfortable about, like reach out to me. I can give you I love to teach people how to improve their health, help improve their whatever it is their goal in life.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not let I'm a this or I'm a that, like, what we do define us. We all deserve to be the best version of ourselves, the best husband, the best father, the best mother, wife. And I want to, that's my goal, is to help people just be better. So
I love it.
I'm here for you guys.
Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We love seeing you guys subscribe and watching our content. It means so much to us. And if you'd hit the bell for notifications so you're notified every time that we drop a new podcast every single Friday. We're always sprinkling new content throughout our channel, and we just hope that you enjoy it as much as we do creating it for you. If you're listening to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts, please leave us a rating. We love seeing the 5-star ratings. If you think we deserve a 5-star rating, we would totally take it. And that's really all we have for you. Thank you, Jacey, for being here.
Thanks
We
for
love
having
you
me.
guys, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Peace.
Jalapeno face.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude, let's freaking go.